Disney Channel kids at the time who were like the same assholes who like wouldn't stop singing the Bible songs from the VeggieTales.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure so. Disney started Good Charlotte like a boy band, and then they bought
Church of Godtown.
Then they bought Bowling for Soup. Like, they straight up just purchased their likeness rights and everything. That's why their stuff is in everything, like Disney related as well. That's why there's like a Disney album of Bowling for Soup Disney covers, because they bought them because they had like the cleanest of images of all the pop punk bands. Started Good Charlotte, and then that's why that was like half of the Disney Channel on the radio. Industry plants, all of them.
Yeah, them and the Sex Pistols.
I don't get why people still think that band's like important or interesting.
I mean, they're a real good stand user.
I have a weird soft spot for the Sex Pistols just because, like, most of my family is from Britain, and because I didn't have a lot of access to the internet until, like, later in the 2000s, like, there was a handful of, like, painfully British bands that I just clung to because that was, like, my main cultural, like, touchstone for, like, 6 years. So I'm like... Yeah, I unironically, like, yeah, I'll listen to, like, Holiday in the Sun and a few other things, but, like, John Lydon go fuck himself.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm not saying I didn't like them at some point. They still have some songs I like. I think the unreleased demo that leaked, like, in the mid-2000s is, like, way better versions of all their other songs.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But, like, I just don't know why people are now, like, Hulu's gonna put out a biography TV series. Like, no one gives a shit. Anything the Sex Pistols did is like what cutesy pop bands do now. It's like no one gives a shit. Oh, they said fuck? I bet Billie Eilish said fuck twice today. Like,
I bet Billie Eilish said fuck twice today. Sorry. Yeah, no, it's
just one of those bands that, like, to me contextually, it's just what, like, for old white dudes to be like, I don't understand why people can't do punk music where you can understand the lyrics.
Well, I know there's been this kind of, like, pop culture resurgence of the 70s bands, like, right before, like, the 70s, like, punk movement. So, like, Rolling Stones and got, like, really popular with Zoomers in ways where I'm like, do you guys realize how many of those people that you're listening to and super excited about were, like, child molesters at the time? Like, fucking... chill, my dudes.
I've given up on that argument, though. I won't start it. But, like, just every time, I just, like, because the same people I know who get on that shit are like, but David Bowie. And then everyone, like, it's different with Bowie.
I'm like, no, it isn't. It's like, you can be a bad person and make interesting art, and both those things can be acknowledged. Yeah. It's just, I think idolizing artists as some sort of deified, like, beacon of creation and a font of new ideas is a fucking dumbass idea, and don't ever do that. Yeah. That's where I normally am like, hey, you know these were, like, people that had problems, right? Like, stop making them sound cooler than they are.
No,
and now
cool.
I feel like a lot of corporate people saw that and saw how much money they were making in reprinting old Zeppelin and Rolling Stones and all that shit again. And they're just like, well... we do have the licensing for, like, the Sex Pistols and a couple of, and, like, Ramones shit and some other bands that are, like, from that era. And, you know, it's just old enough to be, like, nostalgic that we can get away with doing a whole new crop of biopics and Netflix series and So I think that's what's happening, but and then there's whoever's funding Machine Gun Kelly and shit like that. But the unfortunate thing is they picked a subgenre that inherently doesn't work well with that kind of thought. So it's very funny. It's like, nah, I'm going to go into a dirty basement with somebody's, like, cute dog and listen to people play 3 chords badly. That's a good time. Yeah. I love that shit. But, you know, we're assholes. Yeah. So.
But speaking of going into someone's basement, this is Blank Bodies, a Vampire the Masquerade V5 podcast. I'm your host, Hunter, and as always, I'm joined by...
I don't have a basement, so there's nobody in there. I'm John.
I am Sarah.
And we're joined, as always, by Lorebot.
James. Also, the basement sounds way too close to the closet, and this is gay month. We do not hide here.
His fan says, yes, queen.
Yes. That's his first fan. So
He's very happy about the clappiness.
I'm a corporate bot. It is gay month. I have changed my color palette. It's
merchandising.
It's required.
So much merchandising.
Yeah, go buy your blank bodies, rainbow. I don't know.
We kind of already have a rainbow, so, you know.
Yeah.
We kind of, yeah, but we also don't have anything to buy, so I probably wouldn't do that because now that's just giving them false hope.
If you Google, if you type in the right code, you can find the Blank Bodies Aromantic Pride flag merch. Only the aromantic, though.
I feel bad because every time I see that word, I read it as aromatic.
Oh, no.
I'm like, wait, your sexuality is smelly?
I mean, depending.
Sometimes. You've known a few people.
I was going to say, there's a few, like, perfumes and colognes that I'm just like, you know what, I can get horny to this. That's fine.
Same.
Yeah.
Biologicals disgust me every once in a while.
Look, we had to get you an analog fan to go along with your mechanical fan because you're just worrying too much.
Because you keep sticking stuff inside me.
Yeah, it's Pride Month.
Yeah.
Why did
pride-
all of us have the same response?
And pride doesn't mean consent.
It's true. Look, you won't tell me if you're a top or a bottom, so we're just going to keep trying to figure it out.
There was a manual.
If you keep this up, we're going to replace you with one of Elon Musk's sex cat robots.
No.
No, the fuck you're not.
No, we're not going to do
Those
that.
are plants.
Because the Elon Musk sex cat robots we know have shoddily made batteries, so the second you turn that bitch on, it is going to fucking explode.
Mm-hmm. It's not going to be the C4 I put in it, I promise. It'll be the battery.
Yeah,
yes.
you don't have to do anything to, like, forgot the word.
Weaponize it.
Yeah, you don't have to weaponize the cat. It is already faultily put together because, capitalism. Which is a cult, which is the second part of this episode. Hello.
We're still talking about cults.
We are. Ha-da. So, first part, we talked about real-life cults and how they process people to be indoctrinated and all of that. And hopefully people got some good safety info on how to not be put into a cult. Because, the internet, it's a dangerous place.
If I find out any of you are in a cult, I'm going to be so fucking disappointed.
Oh, no! But now we're going to weaponize the cult and information that we have given you for fun, for tabletop games.
Yes.
Because we have cults in Vampire the Masquerade.
Many
cults.
Many cults.
So
enough cults that we are not going to talk about even close to all of them.
No, there are so many, like, in the cults of the blood gods, there's so many that we're just like, So John and I decided we're going to highlight 4 cults that have some major meta plot implications and or cover more than one specific thing in hopes of, adding layers of intrigue and spooky goth bullshit into your games.
Because World of Darkness literally cannot have enough spooky goth bullshit in it.
No, never enough.
No.
We just we need more goth juice.
We need more goth Jews?
Juice.
That
Honestly,
too.
I am here for the goth Jewish community.
Mm-hmm.
That I am
We
here for
welcome
that.
them.
Yes. Yes.
I mean, Hasidics are already, like, pretty close.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm just like, oh man, they commit to the bit, just being like, it's like 100 degrees in New York and they're still wearing those fucking
killing
hats.
it.
I'm just
I
like,
love it.
bruh. So if you are interested in adding more cults and intrigue into your game, Cults of the Blood God, along with all of the splat books that were added on because of stretch goals, because it was a Kickstarted project.
There's quite a few of them.
There's so many things. Each cult will come with a description of how the cult operates, as well as the cachet of rituals, coterie types, discipline powers, merits that are available to members of the cult. Fun things you can add if you just ask your fucking ST. Just saying. Bunch of shit. There's so much shit.
Talk to your ST about it.
Yes.
Because they are weird.
They are. They're wanting you to help write the story. Also, we're not going to read these books verbatim. You're an adult. Buy them if you want it.
Yeah, this is an 8-hour episode.
Yeah, no. Fuck that. But we are going to cover a little selection and talking about beliefs and how the implied meta plot and things work with the cults that we are covering. So the first one is...
Should we touch on that note there?
Oh, hold on, which note?
Because we are still talking about cults, specifically vampire ones, we should be letting you know that we're going to be discussing a lot of things about abuse, indoctrination,
Theology.
Theology in the text of cults, both real and imagined. If you're not in a headspace for this, that's totally cool. just skip this one. Come back later.
Yeah, nobody
know?
judges you.
Right,
Like,
right.
It's okay.
Go listen to our Venture episode again, and you can pretty much just hear about another cult.
Yeah. So yeah, you have been forewarned. So our first cult that we will be covering is the Church of Cain.
It is time to revel in the truth of our condition. All Cainites must be taught. They must know their truth. For as they know themselves, you will know the Dark Father. And that is from Archverger Alexi Farmer, who is defender of the Immaculate Church of the Dark Father in Detroit. That's from Cult of the Blood Gods.
Yes, they're already here. So, this is an interesting one to explain. So, the Church of Cain is basically a Gnostic offshoot about vampire history within, like, the Christian tradition. So that's exciting. So Gnosticism, historically being traced back to, like, the 2nd century Common Era, and is predominantly around, like, the Greco-Roman parts of the world. Gnostics tend to believe in an inferior creator or world and a transcendent god being and a race or class of special people that are destined to achieve salvation. This salvation is received to those chosen people through revelation. So
Is that like a demiurge? Is that what those are called?
Demiurge?
It's like a lesser god, a lesser creator god?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Actually, that comes up next.
Oh,
So,
shit.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Da-da-da-da.
Oh.
Yeah, as we're painfully finding out, Sarah was not raised as a Christian, so I'm just like, I don't know what this shit is. I'm doing the research for y'all's benefit and my own. So, yeah, the church has a hierarchical worldview. So there is the demiurge, as John had said, or the creator god. The church poses that Cain is God's, like, the transcendent god being. So the Alpha, the Omega, that guy. That god had created Ain as the angel of murder. And is the voice
Hell
of the
yeah.
demiurge.
So their argument is that Cain was, instead of being a fallen angel, he was actually the main angel and the spokesman for God.
Well,
If you want to retake that, you said Ain, not Cain.
oh. Okay, I'll start over.
Well, no. I mean, if you wanted to. I was just pointing it out.
It's okay.
Okay, yeah, if
Yeah.
you don't care, then I don't care either.
It's okay. Yeah, so basically Cain, Vampire Bible Cain, the Bible Cain, is a divine being, is an angel.
So he was never really a human in this philosophy.
No.
And so they're implying that instead of being like we talked about in our Book of Nod episode, where he was a fallen angel, they are saying that he was actually the main angel.
Well, not
and-
necessarily like the main angel, but he is the angel of, like, there's different angels and they kind of all specify into like different subjects.
Well,
So Cain is the angel of murder.
Well, I kind of got the main angel part from where it says, and the voice of the demiurge.
Yeah.
So the demiurge isn't God, though.
Yeah.
There's like God, and then below God is the demiurge. And then Cain would be the voice of the demiurge.
Yes.
So he's not necessarily like the main angel. How, like, what's his name? It's the Metatron. Yeah. He's not like Metatron where he's just like Archangel. He's just like one of them.
So he's kind of like, what do they call it? The avatar of the demiurge, almost, in like D&D terms.
Kind of.
I always love that Metatron is pretty much just God's nerd.
Yeah.
Yeah. And how this is classified will change depending on who's in charge of what chunk of the church and who's got what kind of scripture, but this is just the rough
Right.
thing. So roughly they believe that all vampires are the children of Cain and therefore are blessed by God as his divine chosen predators. So vampires are cherubs. Mortals essentially are soulless, like demons or cattle to be feasted upon in order to cleanse the world. And the world that we live in, the vampires and the humans, everybody all kind of coexist in, is hell, kind of. Because this is where it gets a little weird, because they have, in the text and everything I've read, multiple planes of existence exist simultaneously, and they can interlap with each other. So you're starting to get into, like, the third dimension crossing into the fourth dimension, the Carl Sagan Apple third dimension thing going through a two-dimensional world, that kind of
Flat
shit.
world.
Yeah, it's a little flat worldy. Yes.
I got a whole episode that I'm working on coming up, but like there are also multiple the universes or planes of existence in World of Darkness, so we'll kind of set that aside and come back to it.
Yes, but those Gnostics who follow this belief system believe that this plane is like hell and parts of it can be heaven simultaneously, but generally this is a hell plane. And those who are embraced are able to lean closer to Cain and therefore the divine. So
Interesting.
yes, so it's not a curse, it's a blessing. Fuck you, I'm dad. That's kind of
Dad made me dad, okay?
yeah, exactly. They have several convictions that are written out in the book, so if you want to pick those as things that your character will have as a conviction with an assigned touchstone, you can. We just decided to highlight 3 of them. One of the ones we did was feed only from hell's denizens.
As in, only eat people. And animals, I guess, could count, because they are denizens of the earth.
Yes.
But they are specifically talking about people.
Yeah.
So that just means don't feed off other vampires, maybe not other supernaturals. Okay.
Yeah. Never unwillingly allow the beast to take over. So they put a lot of stake into having self-control. And this also feeds into the other conviction, never succumb to fear. Yeah. So the Church of Cain has a bunch of rites and rituals that involve putting themselves in vampiric danger. So, you know, fucking with true faith, fucking with fire, that kind of shit. They actually have a ritual that lets them be, like, immune to fire for a short period of time.
So they're like cultist Fezziwicks, where they're like, I had just I said that wrong. Not Fezziwick. The Dread Pirate Roberts. I took iocane every day.
Yeah. Or, you know, is it the Pentecostals that fuck with the snakes in Kentucky?
I know they just called people just call them like the snake charmer.
Yeah, so
they have some like I know it's something weird. Like I'll figure it out.
Yeah,
but it's some weird like Episcopalian like something.
I could be wrong too, but down south I think there's multiple technically Christian branches that are just into the snake thing.
Yeah, because they're like, oh well, I'm testing my faith and my resolve by handling this dangerous creature, and if I am harmed by it, I'll be protected because, you know, divine energy does it. It's kind of in that vein. Or
I won't be bit because God will not allow it because I am such a faithful.
Yeah, so that's kind of fun. But it's all wrapped in this flavoring of Catholicism that is just, it's super, I'm going to call it aesthetic, I guess.
It's also incredibly metal.
It's super metal.
Yeah.
So meta plot wise, how the Church of Cain fits in is they have been referred to and will be referred to as also the Crimson Cura, the Cainite heresy, or Gnostics. These Gnostics believed that they were preparing for the end of the world and the time of Cain around 1239 CE, which is around when like Dark Ages books have plot happening. So they believe that Cain has been on Earth twice, once as Cain and then once as Jesus.
Yes.
What? So
Yes.
calling them Jesus and Cain are the same person?
Well,
shit, hold on, because Jesus is also a vampire.
That's the
because he's
thing.
in a clan,
Yeah.
right? There are clans that claim him.
There are many clans that will say they claimed him or don't claim him. It gets a little sticky.
There is also an official stat block for Jesus, and I can't remember if he's actually a vampire in that, or if he's just an angelic being.
I don't know. I've avoided the biblical heavy shit in World of Darkness games that I've played because I'm just like, I'm not afraid of being heretical or any of that kind of stuff, but because of where we live in the Midwest, I'm just like, man, I don't want to like drag this into a game and then that be the thing that triggers one of my friends.
Yeah.
I know this group of friends doesn't matter, but for years I've just been like, let's just not.
I just don't want to. I don't want to mix my peas with my rolls.
Also, that book is just really expensive, and so I don't have it. I think it's like Path of Light or something, but it's like last I looked, it was like $200 some bucks. I was like, never mind.
Yeah, but at least in the readings I've been able to do either some Jesus diablerized somebody or somebody diablerized Jesus, or there was an embrace thing, but whomsoever this person is or however it happened, they were Cain too. And and then they were crucified and died for everybody through a blood rite, and that's why the Catholics do the sippy wine blood ritual thing. Moving forward to 1239, they were, because there's this follows some historical precedent for there being millennial style, like, end of the world cults. So there's a bunch of shit around, like, the year 1000. There's a lot of shit around the year 2000. A little bit of a trend. So the Church of Cain at this time believed that Cain was coming back for a third time to rise up and cleanse the world and make everything cool for the good boys that believed in Cain and God and all of that. This movement was steeped very heavily within the Catholic Church and was predominantly made up of La Sombra, along with many Banu Hakim and Bruja at the time, which I find to be like interesting.
Interesting.
But this group got obliterated off of the world and the historical record due to the First Inquisition, teaming up with a lot of imams from Iberia. So a lot of people from the Muslim world were just like looking at this going, well, this is a problem. We don't like that. So we're just going to eradicate it. And they did. So the heresy was no more for many centuries. And not only did the First Inquisition and members of Muslim faith were just like, no, we're not doing this. The new Camarilla, when they sprung up, were like, oh, this is not great. Camarilla later on, but Kindred that would eventually lead into Camarilla were just like, oh, this is all bad. So they also scrubbed the vampire history records of the Cainite heresy. So, yeah.
So we don't have a lot of real information.
No. Yeah. So the fact that the Church of Cain has suddenly started to pop back up into existence is very interesting.
Yeah.
Somebody found some heretical texts.
Yeah. So there apparently is a lot of scramble within those who follow the Church of Cain to try and cobble together what documents and power structures and tomes and artifacts that they can to reestablish their churches. The modern church claims that Cain is beckoning his children to feed upon, and only those who are within the church will be saved. Yeah.
I guess, like, their tenets of, like, never unwillingly allowing the beast to take over probably helps them with the beckoning, too.
Yeah. Just being like, nope, I will power this. I am a divine agent of God. I can...
He doesn't want to snack on me.
No.
Well, it's probably more because that's a meta plot thing. It's more, I will not let it control me.
Yes.
Fair.
You are controlling it because you're the divine predator, not it.
Because, we did give the secret decoder ring thing for the beckoning, but that's not what everybody knows. Not everybody has a copy of the Book of Nod to be like, wait...
Yeah.
Yes.
That's dad that's hungry, or something analogous of dad.
Yeah. Some of the domains within the Camarilla have received notice from Justicar Juliet Parr of the Malkavians to allow the church to work within those cities. So that's how high up this goes. And one of the Justicars is like, no, just let them. Let them do their thing. It's fine. This is fine.
Yeah. Damn, they know something that no one else knows. They're like, no, they needed to be doing this.
They need to be doing this. We need to have 7 pillars in the Camarilla, not 5.
Yeah.
Some within the church worry that the Sabbat returning from the Gehenna Wars, fattened on the powerful and devoured angels, are going to wreak havoc. These folks reach out to reveal the truth to fellow Cainites. So there are people in the church that are just looking at the Gehenna War going, oh no.
Yeah. As they should be.
Yeah.
So the Church of Cain is now like fully separate from the Sabbat. Now they're actually worried about what the Sabbat's doing. It sounds like
people within the Church of Cain might interpret what the very extreme parts of the Sabbat are doing as a problem. Because it is angels eating other angels, and then instead of going up to Daddy Cain and being fed upon or doing his bidding or whatever, they're coming back and causing fucking chaos, and they're just like...
But now they're like super powered up on diablerie.
Yup, and they're just like, that's a problem. Some of them might.
When you just kick in the door and just be like, sup, bitches, I'm a 6th gen now.
And you're just like, what the fuck, Todd?
I'm here to punch all the drywall.
I love giving antagonistic characters in games just the dumbest fucking names.
Just super standard
just
vanilla
like,
names.
listen here, Gary. Like, it's a fun time. Especially because a lot of those names are not popular now, but they were like 100 years ago. So, just
so it makes sense.
You can get some fucking bangers of terrible names. So, that is the rough of the Church of Cain. There's a lot more lore in the books for you to perusal through, but I am not going to read the book verbatim because I'm not your mother. I will make a note. There are some interesting lore sheets if you're interested in tapping into this cult, there's the Cainite Heresy in the core book, and there's also the Book of Nod, Lore Sheet, and Chicago by Night. So if you're interacting with Church Cain in your stories, these might be good little plot hook, useful things to have. Next cult.
Whoa.
Yeah, Cult of Mithras. For many centuries, the city was synonymous with Mithras, our prince, our god emperor. He was our deity, our liege. Harsh, but ever fair. I served him for most of my existence until the time he decided to die, and after that as well. Lord Roger de Camden, pater of the cult of Mithras, Seneschal of London, Prince of Edinburgh, elder of the line of Cappadocius.
Yeah, our boy de Camden.
Oh, he's back.
Oh, hell yeah.
Guess who's back?
Yeah.
Oh, we went in different directions.
Back
there.
again. What?
I said, and now you back from outer space.
Yeah. Oh, he's a very fun NPC. So the beliefs of the cult of Mithras. Mithras was an Indo-Iranian god of light, born with a torch and a knife by a sacred stream. Mithras also rode and killed the cosmic bull, fertilizing the earth's vegetation. This is pretty in line with the real-world belief of the god Mithra. So anybody who's into ancient religion stuff, this is your time to shine. So Mithra was a god on earth who was embraced by Veddartha. His divine blood mixed with Cain's curse tends to knock him in and out of torpor throughout history, and it gets worse as time goes on. So that's interesting. Some patters will tell stories from ancient times of Mithras moving about the day and even walking in sunlight. So that's kind of neat. Some will say Mithras attained Golconda and will teach these secrets only to the most worthy of followers.
Did Mithra have fortitude?
He's Ventru, so...
Probably.
Yeah, he did. Which makes sense. If you have rank 12 fortitude, you're just like, I don't care about the sun.
As a focus of worship, Mithras embodies many spheres: truth, justice, wealth, war, feast, and fertility.
I mean, most of those really aren't that bad.
Yeah. Followers in the traditions of Mithraism, the ancient secret cult in Rome would also worship Mithras. There's the Mithratic Mysteries, which was a very, very popular cult in ancient Rome. Also was the Bacchanalian cult, which ended up actually being a big hub for the LGBTs back in the day.
Nice.
It was a women's cult, and then all the gay men just were like, wait, we can get wine drunk during the day? Sweet.
We can
Us
get
too.
we can get wine drunk and turbo fight? Hell yeah.
Do you remember, this is a couple years ago, when Denny's, I think it was, tried to do like a special menu where they were gonna just put bacon on everything, but for some reason they called it Bacchanalia, and like they got like immediately just like, oh wait, never mind, gotta change this name.
They're like, oh, it was like Baconalia, I think's what they called it. Yeah,
but
That's hilarious.
Did
But
not
then all the
spell that
Christians
way.
got mad. They're like, you're bringing in a goat god into my pancakes.
I think a bit of that, and I think is a bit of the Tony the Tiger syndrome, where they're like, this is a family brand, and now we're getting sent pictures of huge muscular tiger cock
Yeah.
daily.
Yeah, I could see that. Just all the horny pagans. You know what? Good people. They mean well. But yes. So that's kind of what a lot of the traditions within the Mithratic Mysteries, Mithras cult is going to follow. So it's a lot of ye olde, ancient Greco-Roman pagan revelry. Some of the followers say that according to ancient Persian texts, Mithras was prophesied to save the world. Most in the cult don't pay that much mind, but given the beckoning in Gehenna, some people are taking that into consideration.
Yeah, they're like, now'd be a great time, dude.
Yeah, everything's fuck. I lost all my money in crypto. Like,
Hey, just remember there were also lovely, lovely things that foretold Set getting back up, and just the Setis are like, come on, Dad.
Get up.
Stand up. Stand
Yeah.
up. You're not dead.
yes. But yes, the followers of the Mithratic Mysteries believe in enlightenment by gaining control. They will reinforce each other's convictions, touchstones in humanity to make the cult stronger by having the vampire master their own urges. So it's a weirdly supportive network of like, come on, you can do it. You're in control of yourself.
You're a badass, man.
Yeah.
You're doing great.
Yeah, and then it might evolve into something a little toxic positivity might be the best way to.
Yeah.
I hate that. The cult itself has many layers of law and rituals. Ritual hierarchy and secrecy were the strongest when the cult was at its height. So like way back in the day, it was like super secret. Like you were invited in and had to go through initiation. It was very like Freemason.
Yeah, don't talk about Fight Club.
Yeah. You don't talk about our horny dad cult. And I'm making this worse than it is because like there's a lot of like Ventrue stoicism involved, and there's also, you know, the other aspects of, you know, business and war and tacticians and being a leader. I just find the fact that he's also fertility god very entertaining.
Kind of out of nowhere. Really.
Yeah, you're
It
just
doesn't
kinda
really
like,
fit with
Yeah,
all the
you're
rest.
just like war, light, and he fucks.
I mean, feasts and fertility, I guess, go together, but like
Yeah.
the other 4 pillars of himself are not cool with those two.
Yeah.
Also, like, I just want to point out that it's weird that vampires in general have a fertility god. Like, they don't kind of...
They
It's hard
don't
for them to even get a nut, let alone do anything with it.
Yeah.
It's very fun. We have fun here. But the fun thing was Mithras built and established the cult to run without his direct leadership. Because, you know, earlier I said he has a bad habit of just going...
Taking it's like narcolepsy
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
vampires.
That's exactly what I was about to say. Vampiric narcolepsy.
His divine sun god blood wolf is fighting with his cane
Oh,
cursed,
God damn it.
you know, I am the darkness blood wolf, and they're just constantly like butting heads inside of him.
I just love the idea of just like him just doing a Teddy Roosevelt speech, just
Aw.
mid being a badass, just I
Yes.
need to go down and take a nap.
Yeah. So, yeah, which is part of the reason why the cult has lasted for centuries, is he was a smart enough leader to establish a self-running hierarchical system so that it would function and run without daddy's direct input.
Makes
So-
sense for a Ventrue, honestly.
Yeah. He's like, look, if my fucking underlings can't run this shit, they shouldn't be running this shit.
Yeah.
You should not be in that position.
Yeah, and many of the many of the followers await for the return of their great leader. Currently, he's down.
He taking a nap.
He taking a nap.
Maybe forever.
If you're curious about the more of the details on that, follow London.
Yep.
Check it out.
Check it out. The convictions for the cult of Mithras is accept no disparagement of Mithras's name.
Talk shit, get tied to a stake out in the sun.
Yes,
Yeah, well, you
They
flail.
do not fuck around.
absolutely not. Always put the weak in their place.
Kind of same.
Yeah, very in that hierarchical. Like, no, I am in charge.
No.
You stay where you're supposed to.
Do you think that the cult of Mithras was ever before now, when it's just clicky boys, like had a foothold in the Sabbat? Because that seems like a very Sabbat feeling.
They seem to... I don't
They
know.
seem too nice for the Sabbat.
Right, yeah,
Well-
but at the same time, like, if you're an insular cult that you're trying to, like, build each other up, you are saying, like, we are the strongest.
It's not so much that Cult of Mithras wouldn't get into the Sabbat. I don't think the Sabbat would be able to make the cut to be.
Okay, not enough discipline.
I would say they wouldn't be opposed to, like, sniping a couple people who they thought were interesting and being like, no, you're not doing that anymore. You're doing this
Yeah,
now.
yeah, you're not drinking that Kool-Aid. You're drinking our specific brand extra aid.
I didn't get into this because, again, I'm like, if you're interested in this, go get the fucking book. But there's some really interesting steps in the Cult of Mithras section about, like, different rituals and the ways that the hierarchy within the cult is laid out and some of the practices, which one of them does include planning diablerie, because you're trying to synthesize the souls and powers of people to create an ultimate being, and they're kind of like cool with that.
Interesting.
But they're like, oh yeah, no, if this person's strong and this person's strong, if we slam their souls together into a new being,
Oh, they're galvanizing with the
yeah, they're kind of gestalting vampires. Some of them.
Huh. Interesting.
Which
I want to know what their process then is to be like, who's gonna eat who? Like, who's the top in this fusion dance?
yeah, it's a whole thing. I found it to be an interesting note. Yes, the little, oh my
Yes.
god, yes, they're doing it. They're touching fingers. Yeah,
Kinda. There we go.
There we go. They fuse.
You guys would have had a fucked up fusion. You didn't get it right. You
Oh, well.
You'd either been really fat or really old and skinny.
But we'd be ultimate powerful.
Yes. And the last conviction to make note of is protect the pregnant, newborn, and fresh embraces. This is kind of an offshoot of the being a fertility deity, where you're just like, we worship a fertility god, and we can't exist if there's not new creation, so we need to protect the little baby beans, baby bats.
Yeah.
And don't fuck with pregnant women or newborns, which is also like, I just feel like it's a good rule in general.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's also definitely the fertility thing where it's just like, don't fuck with the flock.
It's like, yeah, no. I worked really hard to get that one to shag that one to cause that bun. Don't fuck with that. I've got a plan. It's gonna take 30 goddamn years, but you know.
Yeah, I'm doing
It's gonna be a good one.
I'm doing animal husbandry over here. Cain, damn it.
Yes. So the rough meta plot
Well,
and why
Mithras, damn it.
Mithras, damn it.
Yeah.
So yeah, meta plot rough. Why we're calling this into attention is Mithras and his cult has ruled out of London since it was Londonium during the Roman rule.
Fuck.
Yes. It's believed that Mithras was put into torpor during the Blitz by lupines. So Nazis are dropping bombs, and Mithras is just like, I'm gonna fight these werewolves. I don't remember what all the plot is, but that's kind of the rough of it. It's very...
That's what I'm going for.
right?
Yeah.
I love it.
I'm just more thinking it's scarier if Nazis are dropping werewolves out of biplanes.
I know there are American werewolves that like went into World War II to go fight the Nazis in the meta plot, but that's like a whole thing.
I thought there's
That's just what you do.
I thought there was a whole comic book that the plot was just like American werewolf GIs like tearing apart vampire Nazis.
Yeah.
That'd be. I
mean,
would
I'm-
read that.
I am here for super pulpy World War II bullshit. Mild spoiler, skip ahead to just hit the 15-second skip several times because this is like a little note in,
Until you hear quotes.
Yeah, basically. This gets into a little bit of the plot for Fall of London, so sorry. Montgomery Coven, a Banu Hakim neonate, found the body of Mithras during this and diablerized him. Many believe that the god is finally like dead. There were lots of people in the cult that are just like, oh, I don't feel Mithras daddy anymore. I don't know. But in recent nights, they're stirring among the cults is that Mithras has returned.
I mean, you'd have to be a pretty strong personality to eat a sun god antediluvian practically.
Yeah.
And not be like, oh, I'm the antediluvian sun god.
Yeah.
You know?
We haven't gotten into that yet because they changed the mechanics a bit for it, and I like it better in this one in V5, where Diablerie isn't just, okay, did you win the struggle? Cool. There's nothing left over. In V5, they've been like, nah, you could still be fucking with that thing forever.
Right,
it's not
yeah.
just it's not a save or suck thing. It's just like, if that thing's strong enough, you can just have a secondary new beast that's just like, hi, I have objectives.
God, imagine if you had just Mithras as your beast.
No thanks.
I'm good.
Yeah.
I don't want to venture as my beast. That sounds awful.
Also,
Does. Very bossy.
Shout out to those GMs that make your beast weird as fuck.
Yeah. I'm here for
I
making
love y'all.
players uncomfortable. If you're interested in exploring more aspects of the Cult of Mithras and you don't want to get into the cult specifically, there are lore sheets. There's the Cult of Mithras lore sheet in the Camarilla book, and just the entirety of the Fall of London book.
Yeah.
Just get that book.
Just the whole book.
It's really cool. The next cult.
Cult of Shalim. Do you dream? Do you dare to dream? In this place, our dreams may take form, but the ravages of time and endless march of reality render them to nothing. I can show you a way to end the suffering of hope, the pain of dreams. That's from Apollyon. Yeah, Apollyon the Traveler, founder of the Cult of Shalim. I love it.
I love these guys. They are
Yes.
fucking... This is like an actually spooky cult. Like,
Yeah.
super spooky.
Yeah.
All right, so their belief boils down to reality is suffering. All
nihilists.
Yeah, this is nihilism cranked to 12.
Yeah.
All happiness fade. You know, death is inevitable. The only way to create a utopia is to allow existence to fall away into annihilation. Shalim will remove all corruption of his creation, allowing all creation to be one with Shalim.
You know, I was kind of thinking just now, Cult of Shalim, you're right. They turned the volume button to 12, but then they just kicked the knob off.
Yeah.
They were like, and it's stuck now.
Just saying hi to the Elden Ring players. That's just the Frenzied Flame. If you've been playing Elden Ring, if you do the Frenzied Flame ending, this is the cult for you.
Yeah, this is the dark mode of that.
Yeah, where it's just like, reality is suffering. Burn it. We are all born to suffer. No rightful existence should allow this to happen. The only solution is to kill it all. And return it to nothing.
Yeah, it's like even beyond just like killing things, it is just like the heat death of the universe kind of levels of just like, ugh. So if you like Cthulian levels of shenanigans, here's a good way to throw that into your
Cult
game.
of Shalim.
So Shalim actually traces back to an old Canaanite god of dusk and evening and night. has associations with the evening star, which is Venus, the planet Venus now, not an actual star. Astrology.
Haha.
There's also associations with contemplation, peace, and death. Shalim is the son of El, along with his brother Shahar. So Shahar is kind of more like the dawn, sun, and then Shalim is the night. Two wolves fighting inside of him.
All the time.
All the time.
Some people have 2 wolves. Some people have 2 pugs. And they're just
Yes. But the interesting note, at least in the little fragments of texts that we have found about these 2 deities in the historical record, is both of these brothers were said to be hungry gods as babies and were like devourer entities. Which I'm just like, interesting.
Yeah.
And there's some scholarly note that Shalim is where we get the name for the ancient city, Jerusalem. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's just time is a flat circle, everyone.
Yeah.
So
Does that
Jerusalem.
imply that Jerusalem is suicide capital?
I don't know if it is. I know there's a lot of pain and issues and centuries of struggle, and I do not have the time
Yeah, we don't have the time for
or
that.
the spoons right now. So we're just going to scoot on past that, unfortunately, much like American media tends to do all the time anyways. But anywho, so the first kindred, master of the abyss, the emptiness that existed before creation. That is their thought on what Shalim is.
So hold up. They think that Shalim was a kindred before Cain.
Yes.
Before Lilith? Mm-hmm.
Yep. Those who actually embraced the person that we know as Lasombra was actually Shalim. It was not Cain.
These are theories.
These are theories.
But it kind of makes sense.
We got a little bit of a Pepe Sylvia board going.
Yeah.
Yes. So that explains why the Lasombra have the spooky abyss powers as opposed to all the other vampires. They're like, I go fast as fuck. Or whatever the fuck else we have.
I talk pretty.
Right?
Then I'd have to ask what their link to Hakata is at that point. Yeah. Moving on.
We might get to that one night. Tonight is not that night. Believers in the cult will say the phrase Shalim is due to their belief that this being is the only truth in infinite things. And it is beyond existence.
Yeah, this is incredibly Lovecrafty. This is just endless abyss of horror.
This also has a lot of feel of like the Necrons from
Yeah, John, you
40K.
shouldn't look like that excited.
There's a twinkle in his eye, like a young boy on Christmas morn.
But yes, the Necrons. I am so sorry.
No, I mean, it's also like the same theory for the Necrons. Little 40K lore, the reason why they're the oldest race is they killed everything. They achieved their Shalim goal. They killed themselves, turned themselves into robots, destroyed all life in the universe. We're like, okay, we did it good. We're all going to go to sleep now. And then they
life
woke up and they're like,
finds a way.
what happened to my kitchen? Why are there ants everywhere? We got to kill them.
I don't like these life ants.
Yeah, I don't like them.
Yes. So Apollyon, the traveler, is an ancient Lasombra that is said to travel along the bottom of the ocean as a black, shapeless void, communicating with his sire in a semi-torpid state.
That's so cool.
This is just a random ass idea, but this is one of those moments where we have one of those Lasombra submarine adventures.
Yeah.
Back to the Lasombra submarine!
Hey,
Imagine, though, a group of Lasombra who are members of the cult of Shalim just down there for centuries trying to find him.
yeah, we're just like
Yeah.
trying to find the Sombra.
We've only had submarines for like maybe 200 years, so like you're barely
We've
scratching.
only had submarines.
I don't want to get into this ancient aliens thing because it's racist as shit. Not white people can build things too.
Well, they don't need to breathe underwater,
That's
so it'd be
true.
a little easier for them to have some sort of exploration down there.
You're going to
Yeah.
need a fuckload of fortitude because depending on what part of the ocean you're underneath, the pressures down there alone are just going to fucking...
I will also bring up, because we haven't done it yet, but it's great. It's going to be good for the Gehenna episode. There's another antediluvian that might be at the bottom of the ocean, and it's not just La Sombra.
Yeah, just Lasombra have a special connection with the ocean.
Yep.
Now, spoilers possibly,
Yes.
anyone? Does it specifically state why Lake Michigan is so oodly doodly at all?
I'm trying to remember. I know it's one of the Great Lakes. I don't think it's Michigan. I think it's Erie. But one of them is particularly cold and rough. So there's a fuckload of ghost ships down there because it's just physically not safe to like go and retrieve materials.
It's probably Superior.
Yeah, I for ST reasons, because the Great Lakes do connect in with the oceans through like the Hudson Bay and all that shit. I like being a dick and just being like, well, half of the city in Chicago is just up against this giant fuck off body of water that might as well be the ocean because it's so fucking big.
Yeah.
And I just being like, hey, so you want to go fuck around with the lake? And then anytime somebody does, I'm like, I'm going to make it really uncomfortable and give you all of the signs that this is a terrible fucking idea.
So the reason I was thinking that is it said that, he's wandering around in the bottom of the ocean.
Yes.
Well, for that strong, that old, that powerful of a vampire, what's to say he can't necessarily shadow walk or something from one ocean to a different super dark body of water?
Well, here's the thing. It is said, whispers within the cult and those who have interacted with the cult of Shalem, that this being will reach out to those of his bloodline who have suffered great losses, offering them answers to their pain. So there's not really any reason for Apollyon to not, shimmy shake his way through the Great Lakes up into Chicago and just being like, hey, so I see you're real sad there.
Right.
Do you want it to stop?
I can fix that for you.
So if the Sombra start going missing in your Chicago chronicles...
You may want to take note.
Might want to take note. So some of the convictions within the cult of Shalem are always work to impede those who control chaos. So the cult of Shalem has some big issues with the cult of Set. These are both chaos-related cults. While the cult of Shalem is very, we are nihilists, we believe in nothing. The cult of Set are very just like, what if we partied so hard we just became an orgy, greasy ball of ecstasy? And it's kind of like...
It's elevating oneself outside of the one into the many.
Yeah, it very much reminds me of Azathoth, kind of like the cosmic trumpet, kind of that level of cosmic entity horror, as opposed to the flip side where it's just like, again, the heat death of the universe.
Right.
So those two tend to not get along. So Cult of Shalem people, if there are any of the ministry who partake in the cult of Set, will probably come up and go, no.
Yeah.
And vice versa. Though I like to think the cult of Set would fight the cult of Shalem by just being like, hey, do you want to do vampire coke?
Yeah, would you like a vampire ice cream so you're not sad?
Like, hey, we can do a bump. I got this silk shirt. We're going to go to the discotheque.
Maybe if you just nut and had a good fucking drug experience, you might not be so sad.
You know what? There's a lot of problems in the world I feel like would be solved if more people would just nut once.
Just the once.
Just leave the room, nut, come back. I promise everything's going to be a lot better. Continuing on the convictions, only allow embraces that further the destruction of society. So you don't want to be making more vampires because that's creating things and we're not here to make things.
Mm-hmm. I mean, unless you creating that new vampire is going to fuck shit up.
Now, if the cult of Shalem turns Donald Trump, I feel like that would definitely do the thing.
Yeah.
Because if he became immortal, that's a bad time.
I was thinking more along the lines of a direct opposition to Cain's commandments. Mm-hmm. Like, embrace the sick, embrace the insane, embrace the broken and the unstable.
Yeah.
Yeah, embrace the mass shooter kids that are on the 4chan boards.
Yeah.
Like those guys, because they're just going to fuck everything up and then cause more loss and destruction, which is going to make people sad and therefore more interested in listening to your fucking entropy speech.
Right.
Yeah. Continuing cycles of violence. That's a great thing to be doing here. Another conviction, never maintain or protect more than a single mortal of importance.
So they are only allowed to have a touchstone. One. And they cannot be giving two shits about anyone else's. Mm-mm. So your coterie mate who's a cult of Shalem, don't count on them to help you with your touchstone.
Oh, God. Yeah,
If anything, they might try to kill it so that you go into frenzy and cause issues.
Yeah, I've used Cult of Shalem for antagonist NPC characters. I have not thought about having a player character do this because I'm just like...
It'd be fucked. I don't know that it would be very playable because the whole point right now, most games, is you're a coterie. You're trying to work toward a goal. Mm-hmm. And their goal is
one guy in the coterie
not having anything exist.
It reminds me of the D&D thing when you're we're only playing good characters, maybe one chaotic character. If you can explain why a chaotic neutral guy wants to save the world.
Because I live in it.
Asshole.
Yeah. But I'm just saying, you're not going to play a chaotic evil thief who just steals from everyone and shit's the bed.
You don't have the party member that just walks in with the hand of Vecna already attached to them. Just be like, "Hi guys."
Yeah, this is definitely have a discussion with your storyteller and your group, because I think you could have a really interesting story where it's basically like a big game of Mafia where the coterie is trying to achieve a goal and somebody is secretly in the cult of Shalim, and you guys have to parse out like the thing, like who's infected and how to deal with this.
Yeah.
I think that could be a really good story, but you also need to have players and an ST who is on board with this, cool with it, and mature enough to handle this and not have people get butthurt.
Yeah. Because that player, their goal will be like,
I'm here to fuck your
subtly
day.
fuck the plans up.
Oh yeah, like I just like, well, if I kill this guy's touchstone, he might be sad enough to join me.
Right.
So is the thing test to figure out who's the Cult of Shalim character in the coterie just a box of kittens? And whoever doesn't smile, you're like, that's it!
No.
Well,
no, because like I've played many of vampires that would look at a box of kittens and be like, yeah, it's a
Well,
box
no,
of
here's the thing. It
kittens,
is a
whatever.
good test because the box of kittens might actually work, because you either are going to have the high humanity people that are like, I mean, don't fucking do that. And then you're going to have like the low humanity people are going like, I wanted to eat that. Like, what the fuck? And then you have the one guy that's just like,
Stone face.
none of this means anything.
Yeah, exactly. That's the reason why I'm like, that might be the flamethrower test for the Cult of Shalim. Just be like,
Yeah.
box of kittens? How do they react?
Just like, ooh, it's lunch. Like, I'm like, okay, well, you had a feeling about it.
Right. Fair enough.
Versus
fair
just, I have no strong feelings about this one way or another.
enough. I wish it didn't exist.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Makes a man turn neutral.
But yeah, the meta plot, this is canonically one of the newest cults in the plot, because a lot of other cults have been either canonically in the game for the entire run or most of the entire run, or historically have been around for thousands of years. This one is very fucking new.
Yeah.
So it's showing up and people are just like, huh. Some of those who have gone off to fight in the Gehenna Wars speak of the hungry dark that devours kindred and Cainite alike. So there might be something going on.
Yeah.
Some people are returning from their travels out in the Middle East and Mediterranean with a new desire, uniting everyone and everything into oneness with the void. So there's some people that haven't even necessarily gone out to go fight in the Gehenna Wars. They're just kind of in the area and they're coming back and just being like, we should really work on building a community together because, we need to end the suffering. Like, they'll coach it in this kind of almost self-help, like, I'm here to reassure you. But then, like, as you're listening to it, it suddenly just turns into, like, a suicide cult. And you're like, whoa, what?
Yeah.
That sounds like a high-level dominate. Like, if you just get in the area and it's just like, supplant that you all need to die.
Which dominate is a La Sombra discipline power. So, one of the most prolific prophets of the cult of Shalim is Rabbi Michaelius Basarus of Chicago, who is a major NPC in that city.
Oh,
So it's just kind of a,
he's an important dude that
Yeah.
wants the world and everything else to not exist.
yeah. And I think he appears in one of the story video games that you can play. I think the new one, Parliament and I think he appears in that too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Cool.
I haven't played it, but I've had some people talk to me about it a little bit because I love those games. I just have not had the fucking time. So if you send money to our Patreon, I can afford to take the time to get hammered and play these games for everybody on stream. But, that's where we are right now. So Shalemites have tendrils in many places on record that we're aware of currently, including the UK, Brazil, South Africa, Egypt, and there is a major faction within Fukuoka, Japan. Fukuoka. I don't know how to say this.
I think
Fukuoka?
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 That's what I would say.
Fujiko, maybe?
Fujiko?
No.
I-
There'd be a
There's
J.
no-
There'd be
yeah,
a J
yeah.
if that was
I do not speak Japanese, and I should have looked this up beforehand. I did not. I am sorry.
I have to show my weeb a little bit. I read a lot of Legend of the Five Rings. That's the only reason why I'm usually good at pronouncing them.
Right on. Good job for being culturally diverse.
It's a good story.
Yes. But yeah, if you're interested in Cult of Shalim and you don't want to go balls deep into playing the Cult of Shalim lore sheet is in Chicago by night. Next cult! We are tested nightly, my brother. For as long as Earl Shagi exists in Alamut, he will pull on every one of our sinful urges. He will toy with us until we return to him and his mercy. We must pray for the strength and fight to resist. Until we are free, our clan is sin incarnate. Fatima Al-Fakadi, Hand of Vengeance. This quote is from the Camarilla Sourcebook, page 163. So we are talking of the Shepherds of Earl Shagi.
Nice.
All right, we haven't talked about the Banu Hakim much, but this is kind of a major faction within this clan. So strap in, everybody. Beliefs for the cult, or the shepherds of Urshagi. Banu Hakim, as we know, were the former Assamites, and they are a clan of vampires that generally focus on maintaining codes of ethics and seeing themselves as the judge of vampires and mortals alike. You know how the Ventrue have I am the divine right king because, Daddy Kane said I was. The Banu Hakim are like, I'm the judge of everybody because Daddy Kane said I was. Urshagi is a actual canonical NPC character within World of Darkness.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
He is a 4th gen Methuselah. He is the second childer of Hakim, who is the founder of the Banu Hakim. And he is old enough to have memories of the second city of Enoch. He is old as shit. I like this quote describing him. It's from Beckett. In build, he looks like a young man, perhaps a teenager, but his skin is marked with orange-red veins and the color of lava, which give off light that pulses in time with the music.
Look.
Yeah, so this guy is scarred and burnt and just, he's got bone and sinew exposed. Like, this guy is fucking metal.
Wow.
There are descriptions of him where he either has his eyes gouged out, or the eyes are burnt out, or his eyelids were cut out. He is canonically the most powerful blood sorcerer in the world and said to be a creature of perfect violence. This is some metal shit. You're just like, fuck. There's descriptions of him in the lore where he's just like sitting perfectly still, and you only see him move in the fact that he was sitting there, now he's on the other side of the room, and that person has exploded.
Huh. Cool.
So,
Damn.
yeah, it's a lot. Urshagi views nearly all vampires as having failed to live up to the laws of Hakim, including his own clan. In particular, he does not like that many vampires have fallen into worshipping Kain religions. Within the Banu Hakim, in particular, it's Islam, but, Christians, Buddhists, so on and so forth.
Okay, this might be my tinfoil hat moment, but
Yeah.
I'm just noticing a lot of things. Like, there's a hot chance that might just be Kane, because, like, all the fucking motivations and his modus operandi are very close to what the Book of Nod describes Kane doing and thinking.
Yeah, fan theory-wise, Urshagi, the more I've read about him, as cool as the antagonist character as this is, he very much reads to me like Galen. Yeah. Remember, like, back when I was talking about resonances, and Galen was just, like, gatekeepy guy for medical science, and was like, no, Hippocrates nailed it, and we aren't gonna fuck with shit. Only I am allowed to arbitrate any of those things and make some notes. But beyond that, none of you are. This is what medical science will be forever. This has a lot of that energy.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, you were such a shit. Ah! Gosh. Yes. So the Shepherds, fun note, will allow for thin bloods in their ranks if the thin blood proves their desire to become a true predator by reclaiming the blood from an apostate. So, yeah,
They gotta move up in the ranks.
Yeah, so the Shepherds currently, their big thing is gathering up apostates, so people within the Banu Hakim in particular that are not following the laws of Hakim according to what Urshagi says they should be, and bringing them to Alamut to be judged. And if there's thin bloods that pass the vibe check, they're like, yeah, well, if you want to be one of us, just eat this asshole and reclaim the blood, and then therefore you can now go forth and spread the laws of Hakim.
Huh.
And I'm just like, holy shit.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah. Like, it's a hell of an initiation, right?
Yeah, I'm glad you drank the Kool-Aid. Now you get a promotion.
You by drinking the forbidden sip.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, though, we do have the laws of Hakim here.
Yeah. So we're gonna recover what those are supposedly really quick. So the laws of Hakim are the law of leadership. Honor Urshagi as he is the eldest among you. The heralds of Urshagi carry his word and command your respect. This is very much the goddamn Galen.
Yeah.
Law of protection. Deal honorably with mortals and protect them where possible.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah. Weird.
I didn't expect that.
Yeah, right. Law of destruction. Do not destroy those of the blood. This law is one to subject of interpretation by common argument amongst the Pashas of the blood means shepherds of Earl Shagi.
So don't kill our buddies.
Yes.
Everybody else isn't really part of the group.
Yeah. Now, there might be some in the Banu Hakim that do follow the law of Hakim, but they have their own interpretation.
Right.
And that involves, like, don't kill any kindred, because that's fucked up. And these guys are like, Daddy said it was cool. A lot of this kind of... A lot of this reinterpretation of the laws of Hakim does kind of make me think of, like, the different, like, thought schools within Islam and how they interpret, like, not only the Quran, but the Hadiths and shit like that. So that's kind of a fun note. But continuing on, we have the law of the word. Deal truthfully with each other, for the word of Hakim is founded upon truth. So they're like, don't lie to each other. It's bullshit.
Yeah.
The last law is the law of judgment. Judge those not of the blood, and punish those who follow the faiths of the kind. This feels like a last-minute addendum.
Yeah.
But that's what they believe is the laws of Hakim.
Yep.
So that's exciting. The convictions, there was only 3 because this is one of the ones from the forbidden religions, so they don't have as many convictions.
There's literally only 3.
Yeah, so
we're
wrote them
listing
down.
all of them.
Yeah, we didn't pick and choose. It was just, well, we got to do 3.
Yep. Always keep faith with those sworn to the service of Earl Shagi. Show no mercy to followers of false religions. Never kill without profit.
Without profit.
That's my favorite.
Yeah, so you don't be killing willy-nilly. If you're going to do a murder, make sure something is to be gained from it, whether it is, oh, I'm removing an apostate, I'm removing somebody who's in the way of me doing a job I'm supposed to be doing.
So that one's pretty easy to work around, really.
Yeah, you could probably also get around the, like, oh, well, I killed this other kindred because he's killing a bunch of the mortals wantonly and willy-nilly, and that's cutting into our food supply. And
Right.
I removed something that was an irritant and it made me feel better. That sounds like profit to me.
Yup. It's almost like cults have this thing where they have the rules that will change willy-nilly to benefit those who are in power.
Yup.
So the meta plot. Urshagi went into torpor roughly 1800 years ago.
I like the pause there.
Yeah.
18 years ago. Wow, he's been around. Oh.
No.
So, yeah, this guy is old as fuck.
Yeah.
There was a really funny note where apparently he missed Christianity just kind of entirely, but he's kind of okay with Judaism because he's like, well, it mostly follows the laws of Hakim already as it is, so like whatever. So they get a pass.
He's like, they get a pass. What's their thing? Just don't be a dick.
Yeah. So I was just like, interesting note. And Urshagi woke up towards the end of the 20th century and decided he didn't like it.
This sounds like the most boomer-ass vampire I've ever heard.
Yeah, so apparently when he got up, he spent some time kind of trying to check how the world is, what's going on, and learned about a bunch of things. I'm assuming he put on the History Channel at some point, and it was just like...
Well, that was a mistake.
Oh, yeah, no. Saw the Ancient Aliens and went,
I don't like it. Not one bit. So one of the first things he did was break the curse that the Tremere had placed on the entirety of the Banu Hakim.
Shit.
So their previous clan bane was the one that the Tremere put on them because they were accused of being devil-worshipping Diablerists. So their clan bane was if you drank any kindred vitae, you would get ag damage. So basically you could just hold a Banu Hakim down and just pour vampire vitae into them until they just burned
Died.
up. Yeah.
Yeah.
So super fucked. So now the clan bane is once you start drinking vampire blood, you have a hard time stopping. So now they are Diablerists.
Yeah.
So he straight up just flipped it and reversed it on him?
Yeah, he woke up, took charge of Alamut, and interesting note with the Banu Hakim, the former warrior caste, a big thing, and part of the reason why a lot of Western vampires viewed them as Assamites, is in the warrior caste, anybody, as long as you gave them a pint of vitae, they would kill whoever the fuck, no questions asked. And they would take that blood and hide it in their secret hidey hole of their secret sacred city, Alamut, which is where Urshagi is.
So now he has
Centuries.
worth of pints of blood to do whatever kind of magic he wants.
Yep.
when you wake up around your children and they've just surrounded you with preservative jars.
And you said he was known as the most powerful blood sorcerer.
Yep.
And he now has a centuries-large stockpile of kindred blood.
Yep, on top of all of the ancient texts that have been stored there, and just probably whatever the fuck was written down in, like, the Library of Baghdad probably got copied and put there, Library of Alexandria, like, this is...
Homie should go, like, hang out in Chinatown for a bit. Let's see what happens.
Just see what happens.
Yeah.
See.
Yeah, so as I had said, Urshaki has reclaimed the stronghold of Alamut and has assigned 12 followers as his heralds and the cult follows the leads of these heralds.
Dang.
Yup. This happenings has caused the clan to split. Many of the Banu Hakim have turned to the Camarilla to form an alliance because they just went, oh, this is fucked.
Yeah.
No.
Oh no.
Other cults, like the Web of Knives within the Banu Hakim, because of course there were other cults within the clan, because why the fuck would there not be,
Right.
have turned and provided their loyalty to the Shepherds and Earl Shagi. There are reports from the mountain that Alamut's on top of that there will be nights that last for 40 nights. There's just no sun for like more than a month. Nearby villages will be culled in complete silence. So there will be villages in the area full of people just doing things, and then you leave and you come back and everyone is gone.
That's nuts.
That's so spooky. There's been sightings of a three-eyed witch who is able to, quote, enthrall with only one drink of vitae.
You could just say Salat.
I was about to say, that
Sounds like
seems
Salat's there.
salubri, yeah.
It's a salubri, because I think... Isn't Salat a dude?
Usually.
Yeah.
So part of me was like, could it be the crone? Could it be Salat?
Oh, could it be Baba Yaga? Oh.
Yeah, so that's...
I don't think Baba Yaga had three. Well, I guess it's World of Darkness. They can
Yeah,
switch around a
exactly.
bit, but
It's all very just like very witchy, spooky, just oh fuck.
yeah.
And very, very dead-eyed energy. You're just like, ugh. There are rumors that persist within Alamut that there is a black throne that Hakim formed way, way back in ancient times by putting his spear into the ground. There is prophecies that say Cain will rule from a black throne.
Yup, we brought that up on the Book of Night episode, girls.
Yep. So I had a small Pepe Sylvia boarded conspiracy note because I was reading through the Spot the Black handbook, which is where I got some of the notes about reports from the Alamut area and what the fuck's going on now.
Oh, no, go on.
Okay. So apparently there's a note within that members of the Ashira, which is the Islamic counterpoint to the Camarilla within Egypt, insist that they no longer send tithe work with anybody in Alamut. But there is a Church of Cain stronghold within Cairo. That note is made specifically. So part of me was wondering where the fuck the Church of Cain got all their shit to start running again.
Yup. And again, my tinfoil hat moment, leading more credence to my worry and things that GMs could do. Again, it did say that Cain would beckon them to a black throne, and I'm just like, it would also be in Cain's wheelhouse to be like, I'm just going to pretend I'm somebody else and see how you all react, and then judge you accordingly to be like, well, you should have still been following the rules even if it wasn't me.
Take that a step further. So his whole thing, Earl Shagi, is that he doesn't want people worshipping human religions.
Yup.
All these vampire religions are coming back all at the same time.
Yup.
All at once.
Yeah, and there's some interesting thoughts and lore and theology between the Church of Cain that kind of lines up with some of the stuff that the Shepherds of Earl Shagi are doing. So there might be sects within the Church of Cain that are just forming an alliance temporarily.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, that's spooky, no.
So how much longer till we can expect Unitarian vampire churches?
Yeah, so...
Does that work? will that
Yeah,
work?
well, there's general, like, Nodism and
Yeah.
different ways of reading the Book of Nod and interpreting things.
Yeah.
And
Do you believe in the greatness of the elder vampires? Whatever it may be, you're welcome here.
yeah, there might be some Camarilla courts that are doing that kind of shit now, and it's just... And there's going to be
There's
clashes.
people getting knifed in the parking lot.
Yeah. So you get into these Methuselah worshipping cults within Camarilla courts, and then you're going to have some of the slightly older or more secular kindred that are like, what the fuck? Y'all are nuts.
Yeah.
This is bananas.
Yeah.
So there is that. And because of the meta plot, we had to bring up the shepherds. So if you're interested in any of this, there's not a lot of Urshagi specific lore sheets within V5, but there is the Fatima Al-Fakadi lore sheet in the Camarilla book. And there is the Gehenna cults lore sheet within Forbidden Religions. So if you want to have some insight into ways to understand and maybe counteract some of these Gehenna cults, that's a good place to pull notes from. So final thoughts on vampire cults, I guess, for the moment.
Guys, if anybody tells you they have all the answers and they're going to help you out, run.
That being said, I know a lot of answers, and I can help you out.
Run.
That's what
I
we do
didn't
on
say
the
all.
show.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what we do on the show. We
But-
give answers. We help people out.
Yeah, but we're not like taking people's life savings or like getting them so high on LSD that we can like take advantage of them in physical ways.
So I
Here at the
shouldn't
blank-
talk about tithing? I mean, Patreon?
Here at the Blank Bodies Patreon, we will not send you drugs. It is not legal to do such a thing, but we would like to take all of your life savings. I'm kidding.
No, we've specifically said we do not want that. Just,
Yeah.
You know, if you're able to help us with a couple of bucks, cool. If not, we're going to keep trucking.
Yep.
Blood. Anyway,
You doing your little smelling salts.
If you do have an exorbitant amount of free money that you're not doing anything with, you can totally donate it to us.
Yeah.
As long as it's comfortable for you to give.
Yeah, so there's a lot of really cool lore and plot hooks and conspiracies and things within the books, and there's a lot of extra rituals and discipline abilities and coterie types and all sorts of shit within these that I feel like people don't look at, and then they bitch that there's not shit in V5, and I'm just like, no, there is. I promise you guys.
There's a lot.
Yeah.
This book was really fucking dense. I initially was putting the script together. I was like, oh yeah, I should be able to do this in one, and then like 10 pages later, and I was just like, fuck.
Yeah, I love that you guys did the planning and you're like, all right, I got this done. And then it's like the next night, 5 hours later, when you're like, I'm going to finish the script. I'm like, are you?
Fuck off.
and we barely got this down to 2. But
Yeah.
I think a lot of this can work for any level of coterie that you're running from, whether it be like all newbies and thin bloods who are just like, oh wow, these guys seem to know what's going on. And then the story slightly starts to become an uh-oh. Or even if you're playing like super high level vampires and then they're like, oh, you guys think you're the shit? Let's go see what's going on in the Middle East. There's a 3-eyed witch that wants to speak with you.
Yeah, you're
I
just
am
like,
less
She said
afraid-
your name specifically. It was weird.
I am less afraid of the three-eyed witch and the fucking blur reverse flash Bana Hakim.
yeah, or you know, like you go to this guy's house and he seems like, yeah, it's like, yeah, he moved here from Spain. He seems really chill, and he's got this like pond in the back, and you go to go talk to him in the back garden, and then this like vaguely shaped humanoid black figure just rises out of the pond, and is like, so I see you're suffering, and you're just like, fuck.
Yeah. I see you're sad. Don't you ever want to go ape shit?
Or you know, just Church of Cain just being metal as fuck.
Right. Over
Like,
here
I
having
am
straight up masses.
Literally having masses where they're having people do fire walking and all sorts of crazy shit, and you're just like, what the fuck?
I'm starting to think like literally the only one that I'm like, okay, maybe they're doing a little good is Mithras. I'm like,
And that's a problem.
I know, because they're still bad people, but I'm like, at least they're kind of like, what if we like, what if we like posted everybody up and just said everybody was a good noodle? I'm like,
Well,
wow.
there's also a lot of, you know, not justified hierarchy stuff and potential abuses of power and monetary and sexual exploitation within the cult of Mithras that I did not get into.
I mean, if you want any of these cults done deep dives, hit us up on Twitter or our email or the Discord.
Speaking of which, first off, thanks Paralyze for the awesome theme song that
Hell
you hear
yeah.
Go
every
see
damn
them
week.
on the Bandcamp.
Yeah, we're on Twitter at _blank_bodies. Instagram at blankbodiespod. We just recently started our YouTube channel up. I just did a video promo release for these episodes. So there should be one for the last 2 up by now. But if you're enjoying that kind of stuff, let me know. We also have a Discord and a Patreon.
Yes, the Discord is free.
But if you join the Patreon, you get some extra steps.
Yeah, so Patreon, we have a couple of lower tiers that give you like little bonus titles in the Discord. We also do a fan movie night thing once a month. We have special like Discord chat talk to us about creation of the pod and or input output things. I also do character illustration, so if you get to a certain tier, I do that for you. And if you keep that for a year, I will do a bigger one.
With
Yeah.
colors and shit.
Oh my god.
And we have a secret mystery tier 1, which please do not subscribe to unless you have the spare money.
It was definitely a fuck you, this will be funny, and now I've like started to put together a goodie bag and now I feel bad.
We don't want anyone accidentally subscribing to that. If you have fend on fuck you money,
Yeah, feel
Screw
free
it.
to give us haha dollars, but if not, that is okay. We're happy to get like $5.
I mean,
And speaking on that, no matter how much you do give to our Patreon,
Or don't.
how much you do give to our Patreon, we open up polls. That is one of the big things that all of our Patreons get to actually have a say in what we do. We open up polls on clans. We open up polls on the movies we're going to watch together as a group. So just another cool little thing you can do. You can actually be kind of help us be content creators.
Yeah,
You make choices for us.
You make choices
Thanks,
for us
guys.
because we are fucking stupid.
because we definitely, our last movie poll came out, and John Carpenter's The Thing.
So good.
Yeah.
One of these days, I'm going to get you guys to watch Bliss.
And soon.
It will become your favorite movie.
We'll just put it on the poll until someone votes for it.
I mean, I was going to.
Yeah, just keep
actually.
doing it.
So if you're listening to this and you don't want to see Bliss showing up on the poll over and over, just vote for it.
Yeah. And soon we're going to get back into clan blood sports.
Hell
Oh,
yeah.
So,
That might be coming up next, right?
yeah.
Huh?
Yeah, unless I decide to take a dirt nap in the woods.
Okay.
I mean, that's what she do.
But yeah, thanks for listening. I don't really have any more notes, so I'm just kind of...
Yeah.
Just cults are spooky. Please be safe. Make good choices. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Not her.
Bye-bye.
Yes. Goodbye.
Moist.
Oh my god.